Jack, Ashley, good to see you both. Thank you so much for your time.
Hello, thanks for
Definitely,
having
thanks
us.
for having us.
I feel like I have to check my Zoom settings after watching this movie before this interview.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Well,
Don't look behind you.
I do kind of want to know because this obviously was filmed, 5 years ago during the pandemic. But I want to know, like, and I'm gonna throw both of you. I mean, was it a lot of it shot in sequences? Because there's obviously those scenes with both of you in the apartment, but then there's the scenes where you go and check out everything and you're alone. Were that done on the same days? Were those different days? Like, I'm just curious about that. If anyone wants
Those
to
are
start.
different days. We did
Okay.
like we did like one day on location to like do all of the stuff in that separate apartment, and then the rest of the time I was the only cast member that had to go to somebody else's house. I think everybody else filmed in their own homes, but I ended up going to Jack's house because we played a couple in the movie. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's what that was.
Absolutely. And Jack, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions about like the fact that you made this over the pandemic and there's the idea over Zoom, but I want to focus more on the horror like movie component of it. I mean, there was, some of my favorite films. Like I loved Unfriended, which was one that was over kind of Skype and everything. Was there any kind of chat about movies like that were like that based on kind of like internet like webcam conversations, or was that just kind of like an idea someone had about making the movie during the pandemic? Like, I'm just curious, did you know about Unfriended?
For sure. I wasn't too familiar with the Screen Life genre. I watched a couple of them with Sterling Bowman, who was the first one to get me on the project. And yeah, like I wasn't too keen hip on it, but once I watched Unfriended, I watched another one. I was like, oh, we could do this.
Yeah.
Like this will be easy, we've been in the industry so long, we know what we're doing, and it'll be fun, it'll be cool, and like getting to do a project with all of our friends. Like once Sterling told me, it's like Luke, it's Ariel, it's Brielle, it's Khylin, it's Ashley. It's like, oh, cool, this is gonna be a party. Like it's just gonna be fun. We're
Yeah.
just hanging out, and they gave us the equipment, and would come by and pick up the memory card at the end of the day, and it was cool. I mean, to get to do a project with your friends like during such an uncertain time, like it was
Yeah.
very special.
Yeah, we're going way back. I can't believe it's been 5 years since the pandemic. It's actually crazy. Because like but you know what? I watched this movie and then like, everyone's talking about what they've been doing during the pandemic. It just brought me way back and I was just like, oh my goodness. And then so like Ashley, there is a lot happening in horror movies now. The genre's always been around, but there's been kind of this surge in popularity. I would say in the last, 5, 10 years specifically. So just in general, in regards to that, like you've obviously worked on a lot of different things, but I'm just wondering, like, what's it like working on a horror movie at a time where there's like a big appetite and popularity in that genre specifically?
I love it. I'm such a huge fan of horror movies that like what I love late I don't know if this is more lately or maybe just the past few years really is that horror movies are coming out year round. It's not just like we don't wait for Halloween anymore. It is all the time. But I love it. I think it's I don't know. There's something about horror movies that like you're on the edge of your seat. You're just like waiting to see what happens. And I think as somebody who, I've been working since I was a little kid, I love a movie that can surprise me. I love a movie that I just don't know what's going to happen next. And I think
Yep.
that's what I love so much about horror movies. So I love that I got to be a part of it. I got to do it with my friends. And I love that people are finally getting to see Don't Log Off.
Absolutely. I love this movie too. Like, kind of what you said, I really
Thanks.
didn't know where it was going at times. And like at some point,
Yeah.
like especially when both your characters leave the apartment, that's where I'm like, okay, oh my goodness. You know what I mean? And then like Luke Benward's character, I'm gonna talk to him tomorrow, just drives me. I mean, it's the point, but he drove me nuts throughout that movie. Wouldn't kind of stop the jokes. Like it was getting really
That's
frustrating.
not that's no acting.
No, but that's from a viewer
Oh
perspective, it was really frustrating. Like, and
Yeah.
like it was just, but I feel like that's the point too. Because like everyone, I feel like there's like that. There's always that one person in the friend group, right, who just can't turn it
no. Yeah.
off. And I feel
Yeah,
like that.
especially in a horror movie, you need that person because it's like then the horror movie gets boring. Then
Oh
like
my
nothing
god.
happens. Everybody's too careful. You need that like one person to kind of spice it up, you
When
know?
he like
That,
sends
that,
the message, he's like, "I think I found her," and it's like a meme. Like, oh my god, like,
that literally is Luke, and like I think that I think people love to see something real, and like what we made was a little view into our friend group,
yep,
and we've all known each other so long doing this same thing out in this crazy place of Los Angeles. And it was something that we got to just explore, a little window into our life. And like you said, Luke, he doesn't stop the jokes, and that's how Luke is. And
Yeah.
we got to sort of show our personality and get to work together. And so I think that that's going to show on screen, and when people watch it, they're gonna recognize that we're all really familiar with each other, which isn't so normal, and is a special thing.
And I think kind of to add what you just said too, there's a question here as well, but like it is a thing where it's like there's a lot at play. Like there's a lot at play with this movie. And I feel like, you're doing press for this movie. The cast is doing press for this movie. And I feel like the questions can go many different directions. And I do feel like a lot of people are going to go the pandemic technology perspective. But yeah, it's true. It was just literally, I feel like also from like an indie film perspective, like literally just like friends making a movie together and then just kind of like just doing it basically was really big. So Ashley, was that also something, I mean, yes, the pandemic, but like working with your friends is something that everyone kind of hopes to do. You got to do this essentially.
Yeah, it was really cool because again, we did shoot it in the pandemic, so I think there is you can definitely see, like Jack was saying, like on camera, we're so comfortable with each other
Yeah.
because we're all friends. So yeah, it was a really scary time, and it was a really like new thing that we were doing. We were trying to shoot this film essentially over Zoom, except for those that like one day that we were all together. And I think it was a really cool experience to get to do a scary thing with your friends.
Yeah.
And I really think that translates on camera. And I think we were saying today too, like we learned so much behind the scenes of like how to work the camera because we were our own camera people for this, and like how to work the lighting and all of that stuff. So
Yeah.
it was a really awesome learning experience. It was a challenge, but it was so fun to get to do it with your friends.
Absolutely. I do have two questions, one for each of you. That is just kind of a general question that you can also link back to Don't Lock Off. But Jack, you're an incredible musician as well and do a lot of cool things with your group, Kid Baron. And I'm wondering, because it's all storytelling at the end of the day, and I know you could see them as separate, but like, do they complement each other, your acting and your music, especially at kind of the level where you're creating content right now? Are they completely separate for you?
Oh, for sure. I think there's overlap. I mean, it's all art, right? And it's all, it's just two different mediums of it. And as I explore music and as I, go to acting class, they do very much overlap. And I think it's art is really just bringing something on the inside and creating something physical in the real world that people can connect to and relate to. I mean, that's art. And so, I feel as though like filmmaking and music, like they both can have such an impact.
Yep.
Music can do it in a very more condensed amount of time. You can get, an emotional reaction in 2 minute song. But a movie, it takes a little bit longer, but it can also get that same emotional reaction, maybe even more of a reaction, depending on who is the consumer. So for sure overlap, but the differences are also nuanced. But I think it's all the same thing. It's all really connection. It's really trying to tell people that maybe aren't so fortunate enough to like feel their feelings.
Yep.
That's what it really means to me is like I I try to be as emotionally in touch and available as I can because not everyone is that way, like a lot of like our dads, like that generation, like they don't feel things. And so, I think that's a big part of it for me is making a difference in that way. If someone can listen to music or watch a project and really be on that emotional ride.
Absolutely. And super quick, Ashley, similar overlap type question, but you've worked on sitcoms, you're working on a horror movie. This has its like comedic kind of elements with the lines because it's friends chatting, but like, are those separate? The genres? Do you bring things from past projects to something like a horror movie like Don't Log Off? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like we had a few like funny moments in this and stuff like that, especially in the beginning, like when we're all kind of just joking around with each other and having fun. I think I definitely bring my past experiences in sitcom and in the comedy world to everything that I do. I think that is a reflection of also how I live my life, because even in really hard situations or really dark situations, I always try and bring a sense of levity to it, because that's how to get through anything, you know. I agree with you, Jack. Like you feel your feelings through your art, through anything you can, but also I'm a person who loves to laugh and who loves to look at the bright side of things. So if I can find a way to bring levity into anything, I will. And I think we definitely brought levity, as much levity as we could, to a very scary situation in Don't Log Off.
Yeah, I can't wait for people to check it out. I really, really had a good time with this. Congratulations. Jack, Ashley, good to see you both. Thanks so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Good
Thanks,
to see you.
PB.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.